Hi, everyone. For those that are in the live right now, I know we did start early, but please make sure to put your first and last name as well as your chapter in the chat so we can take attendance. And we'll be starting at 7. Hi, everyone. For those that are joining in right now, please make sure to put your first and last name as well as the chapter of your school so we can take attendance. And we will be starting at 7 p.m. Okay, hi everyone. We're going to get ahead and get started. But for those who are still joining, please make sure to put your first and last name as well as the chapter you're from so we can take attendance. Otherwise, we're going to get started and we're going to start with introductions, starting with Region 1.
Hi, my name is Harleen Kaur, and I'm your Region 1 Vice President.
Hi, I'm Claire, and I'm your Region 2 Vice President.
Hi, I'm Rohani Deswal, and I'm your Region 3 Vice President.
Hi, I'm Sahej Kaur, and I'm your Region 4 Vice President.
Hi everyone, I'm Ankita Kathirkar and I'm your Region 5 Vice President.
Hello, I'm Valentina and I'm your state parliamentarian.
Hey everyone, I'm Abhirami, and I'm your State Secretary.
Hi, my name's Caitlin LaFont. I'm your Post-Secondary Collegiate Vice President.
Hi everyone, I'm Diana and I'm your State Vice President.
And hi everyone, my name is Matthew Kim and I'm your state president. And welcome to our second HOSA seminar, Cal-HOSA Connect. So here's just a quick overview of what we're going to cover in this seminar. We have loads of fun announcements for you guys. So first things first, we're going to go over our state officer candidacy. And if you're interested in running and becoming a state officer, stay tuned for that. Next, we'll be briefly going over CYC once more. Then next, we'll go over everything you need to know for our second Guatemala project. There's a couple of changes from last year, so stay tuned for that. And lastly, we'll talk about trinket trading, which you guys did at our state leadership last year, and we'll be wrapping it up with a Q&A session.
All right, so coming up is the state officer application submission window. Applications for state office open on December 1st of 2024 and will close on February 1st of 2025. There are multiple exams, documents, and materials that you will need to submit in order to complete the application, so keep all of these and your deadlines in mind. We will be going over those in a bit. The positions available for office are state president, state vice president, state secretary, state parliamentarian, post-secondary collegiate vice president, and the regional vice presidents for regions 1 through 5. The application guide can be found on the Cal-HOSA website. The link is provided on this slide. This guide includes a much more thorough compilation of all the information on deadlines, requirements, expectations, and logistics relating to becoming a state officer and what you will do during your term.
Speaking of the requirements, all applicants must be enrolled in a career technical education or CTE course. Post-secondary applicants must be enrolled in a CTE program or health science career major if in a post-secondary institution. Additionally, you must be an active HOSA member in good standing, a current or former local chapter officer, and you must have HOSA as your primary student organization, meaning you cannot be local or state officer for another organization. You must maintain a minimum 2.5 GPA throughout your term. You must have signed support from your advisor, school admin, and parents. Additionally, no more than 2 candidates can run from the same chapter.
In terms of the next steps following the submission of your application, you'll be required to take the state officer exam during the SLC testing window and score a 75% or above. And this test will include HOSA history, parliamentary procedure, and HOSA bylaws. You'll also be required to take the organizational leadership exam in addition to your Blue events for SLC. This test includes content on voting delegate responsibilities, HOSA Inc., and HOSA history. If you pass the state officer exam, you'll then film and send your campaign video to Cal-HOSA. It will be posted on the official YouTube channel of Cal-HOSA headquarters. And do not post this on any other form of social media. And we'd also like to reiterate that there is no campaigning at all. This includes on social media and at SLC. Otherwise, you'll be disqualified as a candidate.
If you have any questions about the candidacy process, feel free to reach out to any of the current or past state officers. Current state officer emails can be found on the Cal-HOSA website. You can also reach out to any of the state officers via social media or DM the Cal-HOSA Instagram. You may also contact the state officer coach, Mrs. Ashley Jest, at ashleyhosa@gmail.com.
So, in terms of updates for our CYC challenge, the CYC attestation form has been sent out to advisors, so please be sure to fill this out to receive recognitions and your ribbons after posting. If you have not received the form, please reach out to Cal-HOSA headquarters. As some reminders on the challenge guidelines, make sure that you share activities that showcase the 4 core values of HOSA: learn, lead, serve, and innovate. Please post at least 3 photos or videos that show at least 20% of your chapter, and remember to use the hashtag CYC value, such as hashtag CYCLearn, and tag at California HOSA on Instagram. And here are some examples of CYC submissions that we have received in the past.
Guatemala Project, woo! So what is the Guatemala Project and what are some of the guidelines? So California HOSA is partnering with Nevada HOSA to carry out this year's Guatemala Project. The Guatemala Project is basically a service project that aims to bring essential kits to communities in Guatemala that are in need. This year, California HOSA's goal is to collect 1,500 oral hygiene kits. So each kit will include the following: a toothbrush, travel-sized toothpaste, travel-sized mouthwash, and thread floss. Huge emphasis on the fact that we are only taking thread floss. We are not collecting floss picks.
Chapters will be verbally recognized for their contribution during the recognition ceremony at the State Leadership Conference. For bronze level recognition, a chapter must submit 25 to 74 completed kits. For silver level recognition, a chapter must submit 75 to 124 kits. And for gold level recognition, a chapter must submit 125 kits or more.
So finding these supplies can be challenging. So here are some ideas to help you collect your supplies for the Guatemala oral kits. First of all, you can go to a local pharmacy or dentist office and talk to the manager or owner. Some large pharmacy chains also have websites where you can apply for donations and supplies. You can also contact local restaurants and run fundraisers through them. Use the money collected to help buy the supplies for the oral kits. Partner with community service clubs like National Honor Society, Z Club, and Key Club to run school drives for community service hours. You can also use social media and local high school television to promote your drive. The flyer on the right is an example flyer that you can make to help promote your drive.
Just as a reminder, these first aid or these oral hygiene kits will be collected at this year's SLC. So if you can bring them to the SLC, that is where they will be collected. If your chapter has already started making first aid kits, which was the challenge last year or the service project last year, that is okay. We will still accept them. Thank you for doing that. We will still take those.
This year, we're also continuing our Friendship Cal-HOSA's version, which is our networking initiative. We started this last year at SLC, where you guys, the members, bring small items to trade with other chapters, as well as us, the state officers. We are empty-handed. And we started this to encourage, of course, networking between members and as an opportunity for you guys to not only get to know people from chapters all over California, but us as the state officers as well. So be on the lookout for more information, and we look forward to doing that with you guys at SLC.
Like Caitlin said, we're so excited to trade with you all, but here are some important reminders. You can trade any positive gift, but make sure there are no profanities, inappropriate words or symbols, or food or candy. And you can trade anytime during the conference, except during competition, general sessions, workshops, and after curfew. And here are a couple examples from last year. So these are some great ideas if you want to look at them.
All right, now that is it for the information segment of this seminar. We will now open the floor to any questions that you guys might have, so please feel free to type them in the chat. We'll wait a couple minutes until the questions start rolling in, and we will try to get them answered. And we would just like to stress that the purpose of these seminars, the reason that we decided to have them this year, is so that we can connect with you guys and so that you guys can connect with each other. And we want to eliminate any question or any unsureness that you guys might have. So please don't be afraid to ask questions. I know we gave you guys a lot of information about the CYC challenge, the Guatemala project, and the state officership. So I know you guys must have questions, so please feel free to ask. All right, looks like we have our very first question. How can I prepare this semester if I want to run for state office? What skills should I learn and know beforehand? That is a really good question. Caitlin, would you like to talk about this?
Yeah, so ultimately, a lot of the preparation goes into making your video that gets posted on the YouTube channel and preparing for the state officer exam because that's like a really big thing going into it because if you don't pass the exam, you aren't a candidate at SLC. So that is a lot of the preparation, making the video and passing the test. And then skills that you should know and learn beforehand is mainly, I would say, communication and like being able to work on a team because we are, the state officer team, everything we do, we work on together. Um, so definitely that's a big thing. And definitely communication because, like I said, we're a team. You communicate with not only the other state officers on the team, but also Cal-HOSA headquarters and our coaches. So a lot of it is communication and teamwork. That's really big and important for being a state officer.
Awesome. Thank you, Caitlin. So our next question is, to become a state officer, is the process to go through the application process, then take the exam, then film a video, and then get people to vote for you in SLC, or is it another order? So it's basically the order that you asked in your question. However, we do want to emphasize that you should talk to your advisor and parents beforehand, and then take both of the exams, which include the organizational leadership exam and state officer exam. It's very important that you talk to your advisor and parents because being a state officer is a huge time commitment, and you really need to make sure that you have that time for your schedule.
Thank you, Sahej. All right, next looks like we have our next question. How can I encourage my chapter to participate in the CYC challenge with me? It sounds like a great way to connect with my chapter and community. It absolutely is. I'll let Diana talk about this one.
So our CYC challenge is definitely a great way to showcase what your chapter is doing and really connect with HOSA's core values of learn, lead, serve, and innovate. And one great way that you can engage in these is through your general meetings as a chapter. So the CYC challenge, you don't have to do anything super crazy or extreme to earn recognition for that. You can use your general meetings, your service projects, or any events that your chapter is already hosting throughout the year. And all the extra work you have to do is take pictures and post them and show everyone what you guys are up to. And in order for the CYC challenge, you can also gain recognition at SLC. So this can be a fun incentive to really encourage chapter members to participate. And one thing that a lot of chapters do is they take general meetings. So as I mentioned, you can use maybe a certain month that relates to healthcare, and you can take that, and that can be your general meeting and teaching members on the importance of those healthcare recognition months. And that can be your CYC Learn. or it can be anything like that. So it really doesn't have to be anything super extravagant.
Thanks, Diana. All right, next question. When becoming a HOSA state officer, is there a lot of traveling one should prepare for? There definitely is. So we do have, obviously, we have SLC while you're running and the following one, which you will be facilitating. There's also the Washington Leadership Conference, which happens in September, and that is in Washington, D.C. This one is not mandatory, but it is highly, highly recommended for all state officers. There's also the fall leadership conferences where you will go to your wherever it's being hosted in your region to represent and help facilitate there. There is definitely a lot of travel involved. There, not to mention officer trainings. Those happen 3 times a year, and locations typically vary or alternate between somewhere in Southern California and somewhere in Northern California. So you will have quite a bit of traveling. This is typically covered by your school district, or it will be covered by California HOSA. So yeah, there's definitely quite a bit of traveling involved. Oh, another one is the International Leadership Conference. This one again is not required, but highly, highly, highly recommended. All right, next question. Even though the advisor only submits one CYC post per core value on the Google form, can we tag our chapter posts with a CYC value anyway? Matthew, would you like to take this one?
Oh yeah, so even though your advisor only submits one CYC post, like per core value on the Google form, you will get credit for that one core value, but it does indicate on that form that you can select multiple core values, meaning that you can, once you post and tag Cal-HOSA and follow all the requirements, we will get that. And then if your advisor changes the form and their response, they can select that you did multiple posts for each of the four core values, and then we'll take a look at it and approve that, and you'll get credit for all four. So yes, you can do one, but if you want to do more, feel free to do more, but you only get one ribbon. But once you get once your advisor changes that and attests that you do all the core values, then you'll get all four. So whenever you do decide to post, please tell your advisor to attest to the Google form because they can change their answers, and then we'll take a look at that.
Thanks, Matt. All right, next question. What are some tips for someone attending an SLC for the first time who is shy to effectively talk to people and make connections? This is a really, really good question. Definitely very relevant. Abhi?
So, to whoever asked this question, I'm a really shy person too. And I just like to say that, like SLC, you'll make a lot of friends, and it's very easy to talk to a lot of people, be that at the opening ceremony or even at your event. But one thing that we are doing this year, continued from last year, is the trinket trading, Friendship Cal-HOSA's version, which is a great way for you to talk to more people. Just be like, do you want to trade something? And it's a great way to make connections.
And also, when I joined HOSA and went to SLC for the first time, something I tried to do, stick with my people, my chapter, move around as a group and talk to other people. I mean, everyone's competing, they're doing something at SLC, they're there for a reason. So you can always ask them as an icebreaker question, what event you running, or what event are you doing, or what workshops you guys going to. Maybe you guys can connect from there. I think it's just a small talk, and then eventually you will see them around at SLC, and then you can give them a hi or a hi there and there. So yeah.
I think another thing that I would add is the friends that you make at SLC and the friends that you make through HOSA are pretty much going to stay with you. I remember a lot of the friends I met during SLC, I met again at WLA and or at ILC, and we were just able to click once again. So it's really, really nice if you're able to connect with as many people as you can because you'll keep seeing them, and it's just really cool to be able to have friends across the state. All right, next question. In terms of the CYC challenge, would it be recommended to have multiple posts with the hashtags throughout, or just have 4 big posts for each core value, or does it matter or not? Caitlin?
Yeah, so we like Matt said previously, you can tag like a hashtag core value on your chapter post, but you will only get credit for the CYC challenge for one of those posts. So we would typically recommend like 4 big posts for each core value. But remember that they have to be at least 3 photos or videos, and at least 20% of your chapter has to be represented in each post.
All right, thank you, Caitlin. Next one, if I make HOSA State Officer my top priority, am I still allowed to run my school club, serve on a youth board, and manage my nonprofit organization, or are there restrictions on having leadership roles? Harleen?
So you can have a leadership role, but keep in mind that COSA is your top priority, but you can't be like a local officer or a state officer for a different CTSO. COSA has to be your #1 CTSO.
All right, next, is there a certain test you have to pass to go to the International Leadership Conference? Valentina?
So this actually depends. It's either you place top 3 in your event, or you could get invited by your chapter advisors. However, if let's say you place top 5, not top 3, and someone from third isn't able to go to ILC, whoever's next in line, will be invited to go to ILC. Also ILC, there are events you can compete in without placing, such as recognition or National Geographic, and attend other workshops as well. But it's mainly through placement and getting invited by your chapter advisor that you are able to go to ILC.
Thank you, Valentina. Next question. What if we are conflicted on running for state office? How did we decide to take the initiative and run? This is a really good question. I think we'll take this opportunity for us all to share our personal experiences. We'll start with Ruhani.
Yeah, so for me, I decided to run for state officer because I was really inspired by last year's initiatives, and I thought that was something that I wanted to be part of. And even as like a relatively new HOSA member, it was only my second SLC. I just really enjoyed the ambience that HOSA provided and the connections I was able to make, and I wanted to further my involvement in this club or in the CTSO, and that's why I decided to run for state officer.
I'll go next. So when I ran for state officer, I was a relatively new HOSA member, but even in that short amount of time that I spent, I really got to see the difference that HOSA made in people's lives, and I was also encouraged by upperclassmen, and I wanted to be able to make a change on a big level.
I definitely agree with both Claire and Ruhani. Definitely going to SLC, the State Leadership Conference, and seeing that atmosphere, seeing that community that comes together is very inspiring. And I was also personally inspired by other state officers from my chapter who had run, and seeing the difference that they were able to make in this organization through their initiatives was something that I wanted to do as well.
Yeah, same for me. I love the competitive atmosphere. I also love the camaraderie that comes with it. And I really wanted to be a part of the team that creates that atmosphere at State Leadership Conference.
I can go next. Something that really like inspired me and pushed me to run for state officer actually stems from when I first joined HOSA and I really didn't feel like I belonged. Um, and that's where I, got the inspiration to run for state office because I want to be that role model and that example for new members and to help them, get better acquainted with HOSA and really feel like, once they've joined HOSA, like this is where they belong, like they found that like support system and yeah.
I think everyone else really touched on why they wanted to run for state office, and I totally agree with all of those points. But one thing on if you're conflicted on running for state office, I think just one thing to keep in mind is to make sure you're all in because it really is a huge commitment and you get at the experience what you make of it. So it really is a decision to think through and really reflect on your why you want to run. So this can be anything from the connections or just taking your leadership to another level. So really find your motivation and everything will kind of fall into place.
Well said. Touching on what Diana said, finding that why is really, really important. If you ask any one of us state officers or even any of the past ones, you'll notice that none of us signed up for this position as a resume stacker or something that looks good on our college apps or anything like that. That just happens to be an added bonus. For me personally, I ran because I loved everything that HOSA had to offer me. I joined in ninth grade, and since then, like I knew I'd found my community and I found my people, and I just wanted to serve everyone that I possibly could through this organization. I also had some ideas for initiatives, and through seeing past officer teams and all of the initiatives they did, it was really cool to see how like making those changes are possible and how it all starts from somewhere. So if you are conflicted, make sure you keep in mind why you are running. So if you find that you aren't able to find a genuine reason for wanting to run, then that might just clear up um your conflict.
For me, at my school, I had two state officers, and I knew them kind of since freshman year. And seeing them grow as people and do all sorts of awesome things as state officers really like kind of encouraged me to like want to be that as well.
And for me, luckily, I had a couple of state officers that went to my school, so I got the opportunity to ask them a couple questions on what they do and what they do for HOSA. So, like all of us said, we all have our personal reasons, and they're all different. So, with that, please reach out to any of us. I've already got a couple of people texting me through email or through our socials. So, please reach out to us, and we'll all be willing to share our different stories.
Yes, 100%. I would be more than happy to talk about my experience if anyone reached out to me. But for me, I was actually kind of interested in running for state office my sophomore year, but I ended up choosing not to because I felt that I needed to polish up my leadership skills. So I ended up like getting involved in other leadership positions, really improving my communication skills and my public speaking. And then the summer before my junior year, I took the initiative to talk to my advisors one-on-one and tell them that this was something I was interested in, because I strongly remembered how much of an impact HOSA had on me. And a big mission of mine is to make others feel the same euphoria and great feelings that I got from the conference. So, yeah, that was my experience.
I would say another part that could help you clear up or give you some clarification on whether or not you want to run is if you have like a couple more years of high school left, or if you have, yeah, if you have time, then uh, at this year's SLC, or even if you went to your FLC this year, see the kind of work that the state office team does, or if you were able to observe that from past officer teams, see if the work that we do aligns with what you want to do and with your mission and your personal goals for HOSA. See if that's the kind of work that you can see yourself doing, because it definitely is a lot of commitment. So that is definitely something that should be clarified. And with that, I don't think we have any more questions. That was a lovely question to end on. So, Matthew, would you like to wrap it up for us?
Yeah, so if there's no more questions, we would like to thank everyone for joining our second Cal-HOSA Connect. We'll be sending these slides with further information to all advisors, so please look out for that. If you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out to any of us or message us on our Cal-HOSA Instagram. And once again, we would like to thank everyone for joining. Have a good rest of your evening, and we hope to see you at our next seminar in February on the 6th and 11th. So mark your calendars for that.